Once again, welcome back to XGS Season 8. Amelia's been joined by Zero, and I have good news. I had some pizza rolls between map, but more important to what's going on here, we're going to have Sesh versus Cenguns, which is a match that I think should be really interesting, especially given that I know what the map choice is. And it's what I'm kind of rocking with.
Yeah, no, definitely a Sesh classic, if we could say it. It's a map that Sesh really gonna like, and I'm interested to see how Cenguns are really gonna fare on it, knowing the playstyle of Cenguns, knowing how they like to play. This is gonna be a hard map for them to take, and it's interesting to think, why did Sesh get to go to this map? Why are we taking him here? I mean, from what I'm looking at, this is not a map Cengun like in the slightest.
So we'll continue the suspense for a little bit longer by not talking about what map it is, but instead talking about what the rosters are. So we'll go ahead and pull up the first one of those now for you, just so we can kind of get a feel for who these players are that we're going to be rolling with. The first team is going to be TeamSESH, who is a team that I've casted a few different times before, a team that has seen some time inside of Elements, making both Element 5 and 4, I want to say. Although, don't 100% quote me on that, because it's been a minute since either of those tournaments have happened. It's going to be Badger, Space, TK, Cirx, and Kixa. A roster that, talking to TK, he does kind of think could be the final evolution of what he's been searching for with this roster that has gone through constant iterations. And so far, the results do kind of back that up. They have done very, very well. They had a really impressive run in the first qualifier. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, Sesh roster has been around for a minute, and they are that top-of-the-line T3, T2 roster who have been having a little bit of a rough state so far, but are looking to really bounce it back on a map that we know that they love heavily.
Now we're going to go over to the other side of the coin, which is going to be Cenguns. Now, this is a team that is a little bit different, right? Whereas TeamSESH is a team that looks to be structured and organized, Cenguns is a little bit more chaotic as a team. Or at least to my knowledge, this is a little bit more of a puggy team than what Sesh tries to be, and that does often create a very interesting clash in play styles that when it plays out with players that are highly skilled, as all of these players are, I think that is going to be an interesting matchup that they're going to have against each other. But now for the map bans, which we should probably get into, given that we discussed those at length at the beginning of this segment. Gonna have an interesting one.
Ooh, and we're going to Fortress. Thank you for the little bit of a suspenseful pull on that, really allowing us to flow into this more. And this is a Sesh classic. We know Sesh love this map very heavily. And Cenguns, it's an interesting one. We haven't really seen it too much out of them, except for playing it against SSGA in those Swiss stage. So definitely an interesting one on how they'll fare against a team that really loves this map through and through, and a team that they're gonna have to attack it against, which is a little interesting to see.
So I do have a call-out sheet pulled up on my second monitor yet again, as I did the last time I casted Sesh on this map, which was, I want to say, like a 7-2 or 7-3 in Sesh's favor. So this is a map they're going to like quite a bit. But as you might have guessed by the fact that I just mentioned casting Sesh on this map, there's VOD of them playing this map now, which means that if anyone on Cenguns & Co. wanted to, they could have gone back and looked at how Sesh liked to play this. And if they have, that could create a lot of issues if Sesh are looking to rely on the same game plan that worked for them before. Now, obviously, Sesh are allowed to iterate and often encouraged to iterate on what they're doing, as this is the newest map in the pool. But if they've remained a little bit too stagnant, that could potentially give Cenguns an edge.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is a map that we've seen Sesh on before, and if you kind of seen them around, they really love to run this map no matter what. And they kind of force Cenguns' hand here, right? Kind of forcing it between Layer and this map, two maps that Cenguns do not like, right? They do not like Layer. They don't really like Fortress either, but one of their permabans is that Layer, letting it go this far, hoping that especially after Sesh just lost this game on Layer to Ball Stagnation, they wouldn't think that they would let him go this far. But looks like we're having a little bit of a short pause, so we'll be right back and letting you all get prepared for what is going to be a classic map.
Ah! We're back.
And welcome back into it. It is a masterclass of Fortress coming through, Sesh, Cenguns. And we got the bands finally coming through after that short little pause. Nothing too crazy. And this is going to be a really fun game, that's for sure.
I do appreciate that you just opted to completely ignore the way that I brought us back in. I don't know. I've volunteered to bring us back in, but I didn't really have like uh any idea. So we're here now. Although it looks like we might not be here for very long, because it looks like there is a player that is having some technical issues on one of these teams. So that is a little bit suboptimal, but I guess I can try to do some yapping for you all. Fortress is the newest map in the pool, so I think it is worth explaining a little bit kind of how it works. As, I mean, obviously, that's kind of our job on any map, but for Fortress particularly, there are only going to be a lot of people that don't know it very well. And Fortress is a map that is very, very power position heavy. There are lots of places that you're looking to take and hold all throughout the map. Think like office. If the site is top floor, think like infirmary. If the site is in the kind of kitchen restaurant area, right? Every one of those sites is going to have multiple areas like that the defenders are really looking to fortify and that the attacker really, really going to want to take control of. Which, I mean, past that, I think it's a little bit too early to call things too concretely, but at least that gives us a good basis for kind of how this map functions that we can go with.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was interesting to see. There are a few like other spots, like we've seen it, like horse, games, tower. I mean, you can name. There's a bunch of spots that we're really seeing kind of held through and through that are really becoming these new power spots that you wouldn't really expect. Like, of course, we've seen like some games where people hold that really heavily. We see like Denari trips all over the place. You see a bunch of like util thrown out there, really holding it down, and a lot of teams will fight into that. And other rounds we'll just see, you can take horse, whatever, we don't care. We'll just go hold the other side. We'll go hold the white stairs. We'll go hold checker. Like there's so many spots that are becoming such prominent power positions that you really can never really tell if a map is gonna go one way or another, especially with how new and how fresh this map is into the pool. There's still tons to see through this map.
Yeah, you gotta do a lot of horsing around sometimes and maybe stop gaming in the hallway if you really want to climb up those old stairs, try to make some ground. And that's where I'm going to end that bit, because I did just pull off the map callouts to try to do that. I don't know, we're kind of a limbo right now, which is a little bit awkward, although I'm very excited to see how this game goes, because, again, I've seen Sesh on this map before, right? But I've only seen them on this map once before, and they did very, very well. And Cenguns is a team that I think really could challenge them quite a lot, given the right circumstances.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I have gotten the pleasure to cast this roster 3 times. Twice here in XGS and once in another event. And they really love this map. This is a map that they really enjoy, and seeing a lot of ops that really is going to fit into their playstyle. As it looks like we're going to see a clash here, and they're trying to hide it out, not letting Cenguns notice it, and really be able to give them a little bit of a surprise factor on what to see in the round. As we're going to this dorms bomb site first, and I don't think Cenguns saw them, so that clash can become a real big power they are not going to know how to clear out.
Yeah, I mean, even if they do know the clash is there, that is just a very formidable operator to deal with, especially since Sesh is a team that's going to be prioritizing team play and structure a lot. And, I mean, if Sesh can use it well, that does also kind of force Cenguns to ban it, which means that there are other things they could look to take advantage of going into the second half of this first half. As right now, the kind of initial phase that we're going to be in for Cenguns is doing a lot of poking and prodding at the top floor, trying to see where they can get a foothold inside of the map so they can actually get inside and start making stuff happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we're kind of seeing Cirques taking a little bit of early damage. Probably popped one of those Goyo canisters. Really trying to give not a lot of space to work with. If you are Cenguns, you're really going to have to try and clear a ton out. And Cenguns kind of ignoring that old tower, going for more of a cross-side over, and really just trying to destroy the heap on the way. And Sesh just going to let them have this space, because they can hold whatever they want over here, and it's not going to affect their gameplay style.
Like I said before, this is a very power position heavy map, and so Sesh really want to prioritize the positions that actually matter for their site. Badger does hold on a little bit as that Tachanka, but he's not going to hold on to it far beyond the point where he's actively being pressured. There's only about 1 minute and 10 seconds left here. The Tachanka is still up and the Clash is still up, but it's actually going to be the Tachanka to fall first. TK gets another to refrag that. Clash is in a very push-forward position that is a little bit awkward to defend, as the attackers are starting to move farther into the site, and they're starting to take out these Sesh defenders as well. TK in his position is pivotal until he falls, and now the other two have everything left to do. Kix gets one before getting killed off by Nexus, as Cenguns take a convincing round 1.
Yeah, and that was beautifully done out of Cenguns. Sesh kind of looked like they got the wall reinforced somehow there. As the bullets started flying through that, the bandit, if TK is just able to reinforce it, like, okay, cool, y'all took this little meeting room, cool, we're just gonna reinforce it up, boom, and we're gonna say that's it. But Cenguns just not allowing them to feel safe at all on that bomb site, getting the ace hole opened up, and really just swallowing and pretty much just saying, oh, that's fine. We're not going to deal with all this setup you have over here. We're just going to ramp through this one power spot and just kind of flood through the site. As Adam went huge there, getting a triple, and Nexus on the backstab too, kind of having a pinch to kind of set up, really just kind of breaking that entire style of defense that Sesh loves so much.
That's going to bring us down onto the first floor, which has its own set of obstacles that both of these teams are going to have to play around for this whole, well, round. I guess half if we only play this side for the rest of the half, but I don't think any one of us want that to happen. So now that the action phase has started, we're going to have a little bit of a repeat of what we saw initially from that last round. Is Cenguns and Co. are going to want to get a good position physically inside of the map here, because it just makes their lives easier, and so, especially given the fact that it's so power position heavy, just having that foothold kind of makes it easier to fight those power positions. Although, Cenguns is going to take out Badger early on, as a lot of these attackers are actually very inside of the building, getting fairly close to the site, and clearing really fast.
Yeah, no, Cenguns are not wasting any time at all. They're taking every single space that Cenguns are giving them and really just trying to get onto this defensive hold as soon as possible. Losing Badger is huge. It's the second round in a row he's died like that on that opener, this time on the Melusi. So not too bad. You do lose your impact in pocket, but all those wubs are already placed, so you don't have to worry about any passive utility coming back. But it's still really rough. There's still 1 minute 45 left in the round, and you're already in a man disadvantage. And Cenguns are taking all of the space they want and not really having to fight for it. Sesh is just kind of letting them have it. But Space is in this really nice position above that if Cenguns aren't careful, can come back and really just get him. As I say that, the Deimos tracks him out and is going to ignore him.
The fact that Sesh have given up so much so early is playing to their detriment, as the attackers are waltzing right into the site. The Kix and TK are actually going to even out the men count off of that, which does give them a little bit more room to breathe, as things have slowed down a little bit here, with Cirque still holding his position over by Infirmary, as Nexus is over by that courtyard. as he's just going to send his utility in. He wants to challenge Cirques and gather some information. Adam challenges Cirques perfectly. That gives the man advantage back towards Cenguns, as now they're targeting TK so they can figure out exactly where he is. That gives information on half of the defenders, which gives Icy Ghost the confidence to entry into the site. They still need to get inside and get this bomb down, however, and there are only about 30 seconds left to do that. The bomb carrier isn't near the site, and Kix is actually making things easier. He's gotten a kill, he's evened up that man count, and Nexus still isn't in a good position to get into the site. They're delaying these attackers so well before Nexus gets a kill. Kix is all that's left. He has to find them. Diffuser's down on the ground. He could try to make this 1 versus 2 happen. Sit back and wait! It's Kixa! Claws it back from the jaws of defeat and gives TeamSESH their first round.
Yeah, we're seeing this game of cat and mouse come out from Sesh there. Just, you get some back. Okay, you kind of have this free space. Okay, were you just able to walk site? Cool, let's walk site. And then immediately Sesh goes, oh, you thought that space was free? Instantly just getting checked. And it's just constant, this back and forth between these two teams. And Kicks out coming through huge there in that clutch. Just really allowing for his team to set it up with that triple there. I'm sorry, he actually gets 4 there on that round. Really just holding down that site and not allowing for Cenguns to have any space to work with. He has been pivotal so far in that round that you have to be like, okay, Sesh are going to be able to play this. We're going to fight back. We're going to kind of shove it right back at you. That if Cenguns aren't careful and Sesh really start to fly and start waking up into this game, this is going to be a really hard round for them to get back into.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I do wish that we'd see a little bit more aggression on some of the extremities from TeamSESH. It has felt like the fact that they're giving so much space to Cenguns allows Cenguns to set up quite effectively. And in the case of that last round, we do see Space rather, get killed off alone, just on the top floor, which is never really the position that you want to be in as the defenders. And speaking of the devil, he's actually up inside of the renovation here, which is a position that could potentially get him easily killed, but he's actually just going to fall away as he's actually just looking to aggress a little bit, waste some time, and then fall back once the attack have committed to clearing him.
Yeah, and that was big of him. He wasted 30, maybe 40 seconds of this round, which is pivotal time, especially with how Sesh like to play it. We see them bringing out like the Mute, the Goyo, the Izami, really just not allowing for them to, clear out a bunch of space and just really try and push the time to its limit. So burning 40 seconds from space there was huge. And Cenguns are really going to have to step on the gas, really push the pace up if they're going to be able to take this site. And Cirque's out in a beautiful position to punish them if they're not careful.
Yes, Sen wants to walk up this stairway, but all the Mossberg, the Paladin Smite, is in the hands of Cirques, and it's not a fight that I'd be too keen to take. There are a lot of players that want to aggress onto this position, but the shotgun is going to reign supreme in that close range as Sen is down, and Cirques is just going to get the hell out. Chase does get PK, however, so there is a solid trade in the favor of Cenguns before Adam has to be retrieved. There has been some space taken off of this by Cenguns and co, but it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, and there's only a minute left for them to use that, which gets harder when Space has the Boss G in his hands, and he's using that to aggress onto these positions that Cenguns and co desperately need. They are going to even things up a little bit here. They're going to get another one onto Cirques as well. That could be what they need to get into the site. Badger's trying to aggress, but he doesn't have a good position to do it in. Deimos is also going to track that Mute. They know where everyone is. Kixa has to try to make things better. The hero of last round and this one. Badger gets one, but what's going on? A flurry of kills comes out. Cenguns and co clean it up, and they're just as confused as I am.
Yeah, no, that was around. That was around for sure on that one, and it looked like Sesh had that right at the end, and then all of a sudden, here comes this backstab from Adam, and he gets, I think, two there at the end, and really just shutting it out. And Cenguns really being on that dominant footing. Sesh had such high power positions. They were holding everything. You were holding the stairs. You had the go. Space got into a great position over on in that vending corner and gets the pick. They didn't know he crossed because they had to play back so far. Because Sesh was just really putting it to him. And now we're going through a whole second, we're going through a whole second half on this defense, and you have to think, what is going on right now?
I'm sure Sesh would like to know what's going on more than we do, as it did look like they were starting to regain control, starting to turn the ship around, but the last bit of course correction is thwarted by an unexpected mutiny from Cenguns and co. And that's put them on top here. Sesh have really struggled with what Cenguns are doing on this map. Which, I mean, we called this this map the Sesh Classic earlier because this is a map they are very confident on. They've really been trying to work on it. But their playstyle has been faltering a lot against the discombobulation that Cenguns have been organizing.
Yeah, no, we've seen Sesh play this map before. We've seen how well they can hold it, how well they hold the crosses off each other, how well they hold this web style defense that we talked about the last time we casted this map together, all the way back in the open qualifiers. And it's looking like we're seeing a bit of some miscommunications coming out of Sesh, as we're not really seeing that too much so far. We're kind of trying to see these little one-off plays. We saw it from Kixel. He got the 4K. We saw Space kind of get that lurk and get the pick, and we're seeing all these one-off plays that really isn't the Sesh style that we're so used to. Kixel, person we talked about before, looks like they might get punished early.
Sesh are looking to play more aggressive here, and they're doing it in that web style that my co-caster just mentioned, although they are falling back pretty quickly still, maybe? It actually does look like they want to spend a decent bit of time fighting this, which I do think could be a good call, provided they're able to do it without getting picked off too early, as they need to deny the aggression and the expediency with which Cenguns like to operate, and doing so could really put them in a ditch that they're unable to crawl out of.
Yeah, they're really kind of taking this space quickly. We kind of see them taking this entire, new tower side, and Cenguns really just putting it on them, and Sesh have to be prepared. Cenguns want to go quick.
Space is going to get killed before who else but Kixek gets a refrag. Chase is on very low HP, which could be a massive boon for TeamSESH. Although the attackers are kind of knocking on the door of the bomb site here, but they don't actually have the bomb in their hands right now. They're going to try to use the OSA to enable getting this player back up. So Chase is back in action. But, still a pretty awkward proposition to get in. Kicks over, exposes himself. And Icy Ghost gets the kill. TK almost gets killed off as well. So now there's a firm health and man advantage in favor of the attack. The diffuser is starting to go down as Cirx falls to Chase, who's now looking to get a little bit more. TK is going to tag on for a refrag there, but there's still so little ground for the defense to work off of. Badger and TK collectively have the health of one player, and they have to take down three almost full HP opponents. C4 goes out, but it's not enough. His arm gets clipped. Badger's in a 1 versus 3, and he doesn't even get one of them. He's gonna get finished off by that Cenguns player. As yet again, Cenguns sending themselves up in the ranks.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cenguns really just showing this was supposed to be a map that we were expecting that Sesh were just going to come into and really kind of show that why this is the map that we see them on and why it's a map we know they love. And Cenguns have done their homework. They've done their research. They know what Cenguns like to, or Sesh likes to do, and are really just showing out as really nobody from Sesh can really be an answer, and it's starting to play. What are Sesh going to be able to do? We see them go back to this basement, this first floor site, but this was a round that Kicks Out kind of had to pull out of the dirt for him. We saw the hero play come out of him, and it's now got to think, is this going to have to be another Kicks Out hero play? Are we going to have to see Kicks Out shine so high? Or are they Sesh gonna wake up and Cenguns really get to put on that back foot for once?
But I do think Sesh are trying to evolve. But I do also think that it's kind of been like a consistent thing with Sesh that if teams are able to disrupt the structure in just the right way, they have a very hard time recovering. And obviously, I'm not in the comms. I have no idea what's happening there. But that is a little bit of what I would guess is going on. Because, I mean, look at what Sen's doing right now. He's confident enough to just walk in the building very close to the site and just start knocking on it immediately. And we see that Badger pretty clearly isn't expecting him to be willing to do that. But he is. And that's how Cenguns have been playing every step of the way here. They've been playing with the utmost confidence and aggression. And that's something that Sesh have to get better at dealing with if they want to walk away from this game with a win.
Yeah, it's definitely a question of can Sesh... We need some more pressure at Sesh. We know Sesh to be this real calm team, kind of laid back. As I say that, we're going to see some aggression out of TK, getting the opener back onto Chase. And really, hopefully, that's the ace gone as well. It's, hey, we got this opener. We have the ace gone. Put the foot back on the gas. Put the pressure back on Cenguns. And don't let Cenguns get comfortable in taking this early aggression without punishing them and letting them feel so confident.
But we're going to see Cenguns himself actually just walk into the site, and he's going to get a pick for it. The hero of this site the last time is going to fall. So if a clutch comes out, it has to be from someone else. But that's going to prompt a lot of rotation from these Cengun players as they want to work off of that opening that Sen has created. And Cirx is going to be the next player under the line of fire here. It's going to be the job of the Capital, amongst others, to try to take him out, but he is just going to kill off Icy Ghost before Cenguns finds another. Space is keeping Sesh on top, however. It's going to be exactly what they need. TK kills off Adam on an attempted flank, and now it's just Nexus who can't even find one, because Cirx finds his groove, and Sesh have gotten themselves a second round. And now, going into round 6, they have the opportunity to tie things up 3-3.
Yeah, no, this is a good round out of Sesh. Now you need to carry this momentum. You need to get another one. You need to have back-to-back rounds here and give yourself a fighting chance on this attack. We know Sesh is really strong. They like to hold that website defense really well. But we've seen their attacks kind of throughout XGS have struggled a little bit. So really getting a 3-3 after is really desperately needed if you want to have a fighting chance in this game and not let Cenguns walk away with a game that you should not walk away with.
We've seen this site repeat a few times for TeamSESH, and they've struggled on it each time. It seemingly only that, first floor site, that they're able to really pull out a win. And then obviously they want to change that. They're adapting things a little bit. They're bringing out the Denari, which is a pick that I do really like. But they need to be more disruptive in those early rounds and more aware in the early rounds to prevent Cenguns and co. from fully occupying the space around the site.
Cenguns loving to take that space so early. And really, we saw Space trying to lay it one time, and it ended up becoming this flurry at the end. And Sesh, I almost have to feel that. It'd be like, okay, we might have lost this round last time we went here, and we had this little flurry at the end. But you need to be aggressive. You need to be forcing them to burn as much time as possible if you really want to have a fighting shot in this game. And we're seeing it. They're showing some aggression over on this little hallway and tower side, and they're really just trying to put the pressure. Circel again with another opener. That's big.
He's gotten the second one as well for his trouble taming that SMG-12's vicious recoil and using it to great effect. He's killed Cenguns, who's been a massive space taker, as well as Icy Ghost, who had a lot of very valuable utility on his person. And now, we're seeing Cenguns truly have to adapt in the mid-round and try to find another way in to dismantle what TeamSESH is doing. And there's obviously always a way in until the last bullet is fired. But TeamSESH have a lot more options to shut it down unless they all throw their lives away. So far, we've had one player throw his life away. That's Kiksa. But TK has gotten a refrag on that, which nullifies a lot of the impact it could have. Now there's only about a minute left. Things are being reinforced around the site. The attackers are worried about rack positions that they don't have time to properly clear, and the defenders still have so much utility holding on to the site itself that they can play behind.
Yeah, no, Nexus and Chase kind of have to figure out what they want to do, and it looks like they're going to go for a bathroom side. But Nexus has taken a bit of unnecessary damage and stuff going into this, walking into some of those Denari lines, which is really going to might come back to bite him if he's not careful. Especially knowing Circel still has C4 in pocket, Badger C4 in pocket. There's a lot of util left.
Now we're seeing these attackers knock right on the door of the site. See one kill happen, but it's traded immediately before Space gets a second, playing off of the same shield inside of briefing. And that gives TeamSESH an even 3-3 scoreline going into the second half.
Yeah, and that's the aggression they needed. They needed to be like, okay, we see we're playing too far back. We're playing a little too passive. Trying to play these crosses. And Cenguns are just going to take that space. We need to not respect them so much. We need to be in their faces and don't let them have any room to breathe. And that's 2 rounds in a row where, hey, let's play this early aggression off of each other. And sure enough, they did really well. You had 2 rounds showing that they were in a very dominant fashion, dominantly in the lead, and not really coming down to these last second, last minute, end of the wire type rounds, and showing that Fortress is a map they're really strong on. If they just don't let opponents just walk all over them.
I do want to point out here that Grem has been banned out as the first attacker by both teams now. Which I think does make sense, given that this is a very power position heavy map. Grim is very potent in those kinds of positions because he has very good displacement utility with those B canisters. And not to mention the fact that he also has like hard breach charges and a really good gun and is a 3-speed, and honestly the list of things that operator does well go on for quite a while. But that does, I think, kind of speak to the same thing, or Cenguns wanting to do a similar thing to TeamSESH, where they really want to lean into those power positions, although judging by the demo span, they also want to roam quite a bit.
Yeah, we saw the bans kind of shift up a little bit, right? Like, Sesh wanted to get rid of Doki before they really got rid of that Deimos later in the game. We're seeing them say, we're going to get rid of this Deimos early. We're going to allow our players to kind of roam more freely. We're going to be all over the map, kind of be in your face, not allow you to take any space, and really hold these power positions that are so strong on this map from what we've seen so far, and really become a pain in Sesh's side and not allow them to have the free roam of this map they were allowed to have.
He's just taking an aggressive position on those tower stairs, and he's going to use the track stingers to cover his own tracks. The Sesh are trying to knock on the bomb site fairly quickly here, albeit with a little bit of a different method than what we saw Cenguns doing. And they're looking to open things up quite a bit earlier than Cenguns did, using primarily that striker as a hard reach, which gives them a lot of opportunity to do that sort of independently, since you can have the hard breach charges and any other utility you might need to get them open. As Cirx is gonna get their first pick onto Cenguns, and there's not a refrag so far, which could be a massive boon to what Sesh is doing, provided they're able to keep a hold of it.
Yeah, and Sesh have that whole tower kind of spread out. They're not allowing for them to get flanked, right? You have the Claymore on that little ladder there, so you can't climb up that ladder without your head getting taken off. And they're doing so well. They're kind of surrounding this horse guy, and they're really punishing it every step of the way.
And they all just go in after setting up that attacking round. We see the Rube Goldberg machine spring into action with everyone on Sesh activating at the same time. So no matter where the Cenguns players go, there's always someone looking to catch them. Although instead of it being the warm embrace of a friend that you're seeing on vacation, it is the cold embrace of a lobster that you have fished out of the ocean. And this lobster is very, very angry. And that sort of setup and payoff is something that we like to see Sesh do. It's something they're very good at. And one of those things that you really get out of teams that like to scrim a lot and really put the work in. And we've seen already that there is some susceptibility to it from the side of Cenguns and Co., which means that Cenguns have to adapt to what TeamSESH did that round and what they're going to try to do with that knowledge going forward. And Sesh are going to have to keep up with that evolution that Cenguns and Go are going to try to go for.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting to see kind of how this map is being played out. Like, we're seeing the mirror now, right? Like, mirror was an up that if you watch this map at all, was banned out every single map. It was like the second defensive ban. Like, you constantly saw this mirror getting banned out. But now, letting that mirror through a little bit, banning out that Azami and that Malusi, it's interesting to see kind of what Sesh are wanting to do here, right? They're like, okay, we'll let you have this, but we're going to get rid of these two things. And I think it's just so that they can take space fast, right? You say, oh, you have the mirror windows? Cool, we'll just Ash charge it. I mean, we'll use util, we'll prevent you from being able to actually power position with it. Where banning the zombie and the Malusi, they're just like, okay, we're going to take space quick. We're going to put pressure on you after seeing how those defensive halves were and really put the gas on.
We see Kixa yet again is playing early aggressively into the map with those track stingers, which is a use of the operator that I really like. She's not an operator that I've ever thought of as an entry, except for when I used to play casual and entry as Gridlock because I thought it was funny. Although he's got to do a hell of a job entering, killing both Chase and Icy Ghost. And that's going to get the smoke off of the board, which is absolutely massive. And if they can catch this Solus trying to walk up those tower stairs, that tells them there are only 2 players on the site. Although, instead it's going to be the defenders that strike back and then some before Kixa gets a triple kill. He has to be worried about this player behind him and the player inside a bedroom. And that's quite the precarious position for him to be in. So they're looking to surround him, trying to isolate this pick, but he actually might be trying to fall back to play with his teammate. As the defenders do have control of the diffuser right now, but the attack don't necessarily know where either of them are, or how closely they're playing onto this diffuser. And there is a whole minute left, which is a third of the round the TeamSESH can play with. But that goes by really, really quickly if they don't start getting in motion, which right now, they're not really in motion.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Kixo already did shut down Adam. Adam was huge that run. He was the one who got those 2 picks under Cirxel and Badger, really kind of giving the pressure. But now, Cenguns is just going to hold the C4 out, waiting for someone to swing him, waiting for the pressure to slowly start to peek in and kind of just spring this trap that if Sesh are not careful, it's really going to hurt.
Less than 30 seconds left. Closer to 20, actually, for these attackers to make this work. And Kix has gotten a quad, but he's traded out immediately. And Space knows where this last defender is, but he has to be careful with the fight. AK-12 goes out. He doesn't quite catch the defender. It's actually Cenguns to catch Space, as the rounds are tied up 4-4. And it seems like Cenguns and Co. have found a solution.
Yeah, and what a solution. Really just being in Sesh's face, not allowing for Sesh to take the space that they want, right? We saw Sesh do it, and Cenguns doing the same thing that they did, the same thing that worked really well against them. Just being right up aggressive, being in your face, not allowing you to take all this space, and really just hitting you from 17 different angles. You saw Nexus on the flank, and you saw Adam swing out from one direction, and Cenguns swing out from a different one, and really just playing off of each other pretty well and getting their timings down pat, allowing for Sesh to be all over the place and kicks out. As beautiful as that 4K was, trading off there at the end, it is so unfortunate to see what a great round he had kind of be wasted just by the individual plays of Cenguns playing off of each other so well.
10 seconds to go.
Now it's going to bring us to the bathroom yet again. As it seems like everything on this map is bringing us to that site as we continue far into it. As well, now we get the really interesting rounds happening, in my opinion, as both teams have kind of adapted to each other. They've seen how the other likes to play. They've kind of toyed with each other a bit. Now who's going to truly come out on top? Who is going to take that round that crowns someone the leader yet again? Before we go into the next bands, these teams will have to continue evolving once that comes out.
Yeah, no, and Sesh were on a bit of a heater there too, so Cenguns hopefully try to get that momentum shift back into their favor going into those bands, and really making sure to put the pressure on. Sesh had won 3 in a row there. They were down 3-1. It was starting to look really scary if you were a player from Sesh, or if you are a Sesh fan watching, you had to think, uh-oh, what is going on right now? And Sesh immediately bouncing back, getting 3 in a row, getting the lead for the first time all game. And Cenguns kind of just slamming the door and I'm saying, nope, we're just going to stop that. Put it back 4-4. And now the momentum is kind of at this little standstill now. If Sesh had the momentum even up until the end of that round, and now you have to think Cenguns really need to slam them out and get the momentum.
And slam them out they are. Chase has gotten a kill onto Kicks, and Nexus has gotten one onto Space. And then Chase get a tag on for another. Why the hell not? And they're continuing to put up this aggression against TeamSESH. No matter where Sesh is going, no matter what utility they have, there's always someone from Cenguns who's willing and wanting to take the fight. So now Badger's having to get aggressive, just see if anything can happen over by that bathroom doorway. But he has players on all angles, and they're going to crossfire him eventually. And now Cirx has everything left to do 1 versus 4. 50 seconds left. Diffuser down on the ground. Try to peek in and out of doorways. Take these fights. Couple shots here, couple shots in his head. As that is, yet again, Cenguns and Co. losing 1 round to TeamSESH. They get the upper hand eventually once they realized how that game plan is going to unfold.
Yeah, no, and Cenguns really putting the pressure back, slammed the door on them, and just immediately showing them what true aggression is. We know Cenguns to do it so well. We've seen it game after game. Cenguns will put the pressure on you. They will be this aggressive team, whether they're attack or defense, or if there are any other sides magically in the game that we don't know about yet. They're going to put the pressure on you every single round and not allow you to feel comfortable in your own skin. And really, Sesh need to find a way to break through that and really just get settled into this game to take back that lead.
Or they could go to the restaurant and
eat out the attack that TeamSESH is looking to throw at them.
Not a very good one out of you. Definitely could use a little bit better word. We've seen you have better ones. But we are on this first floor bomb site now. And if you are Sesh, this is the 3rd one from their rotation, right? We didn't see it in that first little rotation because obviously Sesh won the first one. So now we're going to this first one. And Sesh love this bomb site, right? They won it twice on their defense. And now, can you replicate that success onto your attacks? Won the first 2 on this site. Can you continue? Can you allow the pressure to keep building up? Can you take the top floor space that you need? Can you build the pressure? And they're wanting to do this fast, as 3 of them are sitting in this old tower wanting to go quick.
I do think some expediency could really help TeamSESH so long as they're able to still maintain enough stability that they don't lose several bodies in a row. But I also can't help but feel like most of Cenguns and Co. are going to welcome that speed, since it means the gunfights will happen faster, and that is an area they have excelled at so far in the late or early round, just wherever they need to win those fights.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see out of Cenguns. Like, Cenguns are just going to allow them to have this space, right? They're not going to give any care in the world. Like, yeah, no, come on, take the space, take the space. Let's get this gunfight flowing. Because if your name is not Kicks Out, we do not care. We'll take the gunfight with any of you. But Kicks Out on that gridlock again, a character we've seen them play through multitude of rounds here, really shining, getting the 4K in just a few rounds previously, really trying to keep their team in this game. You just don't want to take that fight.
Vertical play being attempted by TK, so that it is forcing some of these defenders to move around. But now there needs to be an attempt to capitalize off of it from TeamSESH. And they also need to make sure that Nexus isn't just able to get off a great flank, and he is not, because TK is fully prepared for that possibility. He's now going to try to fight more of these defenders, but there's Ilumai all the way upstairs, and he has gotten 2 kills. And now Cirx has to maintain that man advantage for his team. Badger has to try to fight the fire and the flames inside of the site. And Cirx is caught between a rock and a hard place. All these oil canisters are making it impossible to get onto the site itself. But it's all left up to Cenguns in a 1 versus 2. He has 30 seconds left to defend. He can't even get one because Space is going to walk in and catch him off guard. And once again, TeamSESH make this competitive.
Yeah, the aggression that Sesh needed, stepping up there, going quick, getting the space you needed. You took all of Old Tower, you took games, you took dorms. You're like, okay, cool. We're taking this quick. We have the gridlocks to prevent these flanks early. So now, let's get the space we want. Let's take the pressure. And let's put pressure back on Cenguns, which the rounds that Sesh have done that, they've done phenomenally. When they really put the pressure on, and they really do not allow for Cenguns to get comfortable in their setups or get it comfortable in their attack, or not allow for Cenguns to have a little bit of breathing room, Sesh do really well. But the second that Sesh kind of plays too passively or gives a little bit too much breathing room, Cengun goes, okay, cool, now we're going to put on the pressure, we're going to put on the gas. So it's really what team can really make the other team most uncomfortable and not allow for the other team to breathe most.
Tied up 5-5 here, which means that at bare minimum we're going to need all 12 rounds of regulation, and there is potential overtime on the cards here, depending on how much either of these teams lets the other push things towards that inevitable line. So now we're seeing some back and forth here. Both teams are kind of figuring each other out a little bit more and finding solutions to things that didn't work before. And now we're seeing a Glass and a Ying get brought out by TeamSESH, which is a combination that I really love. It has so much potential to go fast, to go slow, to be execute heavy, to be roam and clear heavy. That duo on their own can do a lot if Sesh can position them well, and it can also enable other aspects like the Blackbeard to really shine with the disruption it can create.
Yeah, they're really going for this kind of three-pronged, fast-paced attack. And Cenguns are just going to say, nope, we're going to let y'all have this. We're just going to play back now. And really, that might come back to bite him. We've seen how well this aggression can work if you're not careful. And Cirx out just kind of walking up there, not allowing Cenguns to get it. This is what you need from Sesh.
Incandelas are going out, so they are trying to disrupt some of these defenders, but so far no one's been killed yet off of this. The Tubero is going to make the Badger's job a little bit more difficult as he tries to open that wall, but the Incandelas going out have a lot of potential to make Sesh's lives a little bit easier, but Denari is still a pain in the backside. as they have trouble getting those laser beams off of the floor.
Yeah, thankfully they don't have to worry about that, as T-Rush is gonna burn his C4 on them and destroy them for him. So playing a little bit of a nice guy, helping his enemies out, but it's probably gonna come back to bite him.
Zerx is going to go and fight Chase off of this map straight up, as Badger's going to claim one on to Cenguns as well, which is going to make SESH's entry a little bit easier here. They want to get in here and try to plant the diffuser as soon as they can. It's basically going to make that a little bit easier. It's all left up to IC Ghost. He has to try to fight one. The first one coming after him is the Blackbeard, and he does manage to get Zerx, but Badger is going to clean him up immediately afterwards, and that team play is exactly what TeamSESH need, as they have put themselves on map and match point.
Yeah, and what a beautiful game, as Cenguns are gonna call the time out here. They're really seeing that SESH are not here to play just nice little easy games, as they're just gonna walk all over that bomb site and take all the space that they want. And Cenguns really need to take a second and be like, okay, what are we doing wrong? What are we allowing them to do? And SESH, you're using this timeout to breathe. You're like, okay, we're back in this game. We have match point now. We're back in the lead again. The second time at all this game that they've been in the lead. And now you're like, okay, do we pull out a pocket strike on this attack? Do we pull out something? We know SESH to be this team that likes to strategize and plays so well and so strategically. This is the round that we say, hey, are we going to see one of these strats that we haven't seen yet come out? And are Cenguns going to be able to take care of that? And are they ready?
Just the fact that SESH is on the advantage for match point here, gonna put a little bit of pressure on Cenguns to be that much more perfect as they look to go for their defense here, as they're going back to the bedroom and bathroom sites, which is...
Attackers have discovered the location of
I mean, I don't think there's a bad choice for, like, site on this map yet. Maybe Hammam, but... I mean, I think it's too early to quite tell what the meta sites are going to be for the most part, or at least rotation's going to be. But SESH, they're going to go with the classic again, although this time they're pairing that with the Glazenmira, or the Glazen Ying rather, with a Lion and a Capitao, which I'm going to keep highlighting the Glazen Ying, because that is a combination of operators that can disrupt people, it can hold angles, it can do whatever the hell you want. But then Capitao can pair with the Glaz, because he can either force people into the line of sight with flame bolts, or he can cut off lines of sight with the smoke canisters that Glaz can still see through. And then Lion, when you create that disruption with the Ying Candelas, can be very, very dangerous, since you know exactly where the defenders are at any given point in time. And so SESH have really doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down on that execute utility that worked so well for them before.
Yeah, and it looks like they want to go fast, right? Obviously, you've lost the Nomad here early, but SESH are wanting to go fast here. Looks like Cenguns are not going to allow for them to do so.
Yeah, Cenguns himself is going to get the first 2 kills, and he's going to kill off TK and Badger, so that's that Capitao gone very early on. And also any momentum that SESH would have wanted to use to get inside of the building. There are still some players left up for SESH, but those numbers can dwindle quite fast, as can the numbers for Cenguns and co, as they lose their namesake player as well as Nexus. And then Kixa is going to get Adam for safe measure, because why the hell not? And that puts them in a pretty solid position here. They know where Chase is, and he's the last one. Kixa grabs him, and that's going to be TeamSESH securing the map. 7-5.
Yeah, and kicks out again with just another crazy play out of him. They don't care where you are. If you're in bed, you're in bath, or if you're even beyond somewhere else, they're going to punish you every single way, and really just fighting that back from being down in a 3v5 scenario to saying, okay, that's fine. They pick off the Warden, they pick off the Denari, they pick off another one just for safe measures, and then decide, okay, let's full execute the site. We have Ying, we have Glaz. But it doesn't matter, because they're just going to keep swinging into Kixao, and he is just going to feed off of them.
They're very well done from him and everyone else on TeamSESH. They really kind of found the formula that worked for disrupting specifically what was working for Cenguns and co. I mentioned them doubling, tripling, or quadrupling down on that execute utility because it really forced a lot more kind of utility denial play out of Cenguns, which with those types of teams typically is going to be their kryptonite or Achilles heel, depending on what kind of nerd you are. And it doesn't have a solution that's found out nearly in time. And that just enables all of these Sesh players to do their best work, and then they have the gun skill to back up that strategy, as we see from Kiksa, and that leads us to a 7-5 victory in favor of TeamSESH.
Yeah, no, highlighting that heavy execute util, and we saw Chess run it those last few rounds, and it really worked well against them, and Cenguns did not have an answer, even calling a timeout, being like, hey, what are we doing right now? They were so lost right at the end, and they didn't have any answers. Cenguns couldn't call anything. He didn't know what to say, and Sesh just threw that entire last like 3 rounds, really just put the hammer on him, saying, "Oh, you want to play aggressive? That's fine. We can play aggressive too. We're not going to just play this passive style that we've seen out of them, and just punish Cenguns."
We're going to have the standings coming up in just a second here so we can fully grasp how each of these teams are doing. Because right now, I mean, it's SSG Academy and Ballsack Nation on top, as I think would be predicted by most people. And Sesh are going to put themselves up a little bit farther here, as they have managed to secure their first win here. And they're keeping Cenguns and co. down at the bottom of the standings here, only being beaten out in terms of lacking points by Orglis, which makes them a little bit safer, especially since, if I recall, only one team is going to be eliminated now. So Sesh, they might have punched a good ticket for themselves, although Ballsack Nation have maybe guaranteed that they're going to be up top.
Yeah, no, and we are only on the 4th play day of 7, so there is still plenty of time if you are some of those teams like Sesh, if you're Karn, if you're Cenguns, or even Orglis. Orglis still have a chance to fight back through this game in whole standings, and really just, if they can get it going these next few games, really put the pressure on if you are Cenguns. And this was a big game for Sesh. They've had some rough ones. Being 0-3 to start the stage, getting a win here was huge for them. Right, you've seen them. They had the overtime thriller against Unity earlier on that was on the same map of Fortress. So now, being back in this, taking this win, going into next week, was massive for them.
It's definitely a confidence booster if you are TeamSESH. Although I believe it's probably it for us here at Xenon. So thank you very much, everyone who came and watched. Thank you to all the teams who played. Thank you to our production for making these games happen. And thank you to Ubisoft for making the game, I guess. That's going to be it for us.